Call this meeting to order. It's 7:03 p.m., Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. Regular council meeting for the city of Somerton. Today we have a special guest from Tierra del Sol Elementary, all the students of the month. So they're gonna lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance. Come forward. One, two, three. Wait, I got some certificates for you. Joel Hernandez. Congratulations. And a cool city of Somerton. Gianna Anaya. My daughter. Valeria Vasquez. Aileen Hernandez. Jennifer Torres. Aileen Cagiola. Gael Villegas. Mariana Villafaña. Aslan Raya. Y Alejandra Vicente. Congratulations. You can take a picture. Parents can take pictures. Thank you, congratulations.
I don't know. I'm just keeping mine. And I want to see a unicorn.
Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Vice Mayor Martha Garcia, Councilman Miguel Villalpando,
Present.
Councilman Carlos Gonzalez, Councilman Luis Galindo,
Present.
Councilman Juan Castillo,
Present.
Councilman Jesus Rodan. Mayor, you didn't hear from me. Here you have a quorum.
Thank you. I won't have anyone indicating for call to the public, but I'm gonna open it up if there's someone here, call to the, could you please state your name and address?
My name is Juan Lopez, 609 East Jefferson Street. Okay, my name is Juan Lopez. I'm the coach for 7, 8, 9-year-old baseball team here in Somerton, Team Nationals. And we had a situation November 15th, November 15, where a little boy was batting, and he swung at the pitch, and the ball hit him in the face, and it hit him in his teeth, and it knocked his two front teeth out in, and it cut his gum and it cut his lip. And well, his mom, he's right here with me. They took him to the dentist. Whatever. What I'm here for is that he needs major dental work, and I'm here to ask if the city can help us with better equipment for the kids, because the kid got hurt really bad. And we have some helmets that are not properly don't have any protection for the mouth at all. Nothing, zero protection. They do have some. There is helmets that you can adapt some kind of protection around the mouth, and some of them that have cages. A lot of kids don't like wearing with the cages because it blocks them from seeing the pitch. But there's some that you add adapters to the mouthpiece where they can have it, and that's what I'm here to ask if maybe it can come to somebody's attention with more protection for the kids for baseball. And also, I had some parents bring to my attention that on uniforms, on the uniforms for the kids, we're already past half of the season, and they only got shirts. We haven't had the hats yet, where seasons before we had pants, shirt, and hat, and socks. And this season it's only shirts. We just got them the last game. We got three or four games left in the season, and we only got shirts. I don't know what I mean. I'm just here to tell you, with the parents, there was some of them had practice. The rain, had to go home. They thought they were going to cancel practice. They didn't come. But that was another thing with that's a concern with a lot of parents are telling me, and that's what I'm here to say.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. And cut to the public, we cannot respond, but get your information to the city manager, Ian McGahee, and I'm sure you have also contact with the public works director. We're gonna check back and follow the.
Okay. So you want me to give them information right now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
No, estoy bien. Estoy de acuerdo.
Anybody else from the public wishing to address council? There's no items in consent agenda.
Mayor, were items of consent agenda?
Yeah. This one has a consent agenda. We actually have 4 items in consent agenda. Item number 1, check register for the month of October 2019, check register for the month of November 2019, minutes for work session of November 19th, 2019, minutes from regular council meeting of November 19th, 2019. Anybody from council wishing to remove an item from consent agenda? Is there a motion? A motion by Vice Mayor Garcia.
Second.
Second by Councilman Galindo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
But Mayor, we're gonna clear the record that the second was
Yes.
Councilman Castillo.
It was Galindo.
Oh, that-
I heard that. Okay, moving on to public hearing. Is there a motion to open public hearing? Motion by Vice Mayor Garcia. Second by Councilman Villalpando. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so, development fee hearing, Mr. McGahee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. At a special meeting of the City Council on October 30th, the council adopted the land use assumptions and infrastructure improvements plan and discussed the base rate for the new water development fee. Tonight's public hearing gives residents the opportunity to speak about the fees prior to final adoption on January 7th. If adopted, the fees would become effective March 23rd, 2020. The council has asked, well, you already have opened the public hearing for comment, And just a reminder that no action will be taken tonight.
We've had, it's been open, I don't know how long we've been discussing this, but is there any comments, questions? Anybody from the public? Okay, is there,
No action required, so that,
so is there a motion to close public hearing? Okay. Yeah, so item number 2, rezone. So do we need to close
Yeah,
this
yeah, we
public
would need
hearing?
to close a public hearing for this development here and open up another one for the rezoning case.
Is there a motion?
You were already in public hearing, just second item.
Piggyback? Piggyback?
That's good.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna
Already
leave public hearing open.
Yeah, because it's in the same section of the code.
Item number 2, rezoning case number PLN 19-00016, a request to review and potentially approve a rezoning of parcel number 752-15010 from neighborhood commercial to multifamily residential, R3.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for this item, and I also have the traditional staff report on hand. So is it okay if I present the PowerPoint for this item?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Okay, this is rezoning request PLN 19-0016, 108 East Cactus Street. So this is a parcel about 2/3 of an acre located at the cross streets of Somerton Avenue and Garvin Street. It's the vacant lot between the Cactus Plaza where there's currently a water store there. It's currently zoned C1 neighborhood commercial, and the applicant, Elizabeth Marino, on behalf of owner Gordon Soul, is requesting a change of zoning from C1 neighborhood commercial to R3 multifamily residential for the ultimate purpose to build a bed and breakfast at the location. A bed and breakfast is a conditional use, so even with the rezoning, if it's approved, it will still need to obtain a conditional use permit. So this is the current site. It's a vacant property. Like I said, it's tucked between the two existing shopping centers. And a bed and breakfast, in case you didn't read or weren't too sure what the difference between a bed and breakfast and a hotel is, bed and breakfast is limited to 8 sleeping rooms and a resident manager who may occupy the establishment. Any questions so far? Okay. So in going through the rezoning process, we have to check the general plan just to make sure the project was in compliance with all the general plan elements that we have adopted. And as my presentation shows, this proposed rezoning is in compliance with all of our elements: land use, growth area, transportation, parks, and open space, public facilities as well. Now, there's a note on this that says that the military airport element was still pending. When I wrote this staff report on the 20th of last month, I was still waiting for MCES's okay, that they were okay with the rezoning because it's in the high noise and accident potential zone. I received that okay finally a couple days later, and so that is also satisfied now. Proceeding. Public responses and meetings involved in this process. We only had one response from the public, and it was from MCAS, and they said that they would require a determination of compliance from us. So they wanted to get our opinion as to what we thought so that they could make an official determination. And we finally did receive that, and it was positive. The applicant had their neighborhood meeting on the 30th of October. No one attended the meeting, but the applicant was present for a while. The Planning and Zoning Commission happened last month on the 18th, and the commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning. Any questions so far? So there are 3 conditions of approval that are part of this staff's recommendation. And they're pretty standard conditions. Number 1, that it shall comply with all codes, municipal, state, and federal. The owner shall be responsible for verifying utility availability, negotiating access easements with adjacent properties, and resolving any underlying matters not resolved during the due diligence period. And number 3, the third condition on there was that we were supposed to get a positive determination of compliance from MCAS, which they did, so they have already satisfied condition number 3 on this. Like I said, I wrote this before we got that. And that's all I've got for this case. Any questions?
Any questions, comments? Councilman Villalpando?
Okay, what's the certainty that they're actually gonna follow through with these plans? Do they have conceptual designs, or is it just, you guys are just taking care of the zoning right now so far?
Council Member Villalpando, we have actually been working with the applicant for over a year on this project. They were looking at sites in Somerton for quite a while now, and they finally found this one, and they seem excited. They want to move forward. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting we had last month, they actually did present some conceptual plans, and it looks good. It's a 2-story building from what we saw. It's a 2-story, has frontage on Somerton Avenue, has a presence. It looks nice. And they are already working with a contractor as well, and the contractor is working closely with them. So it's from my experience that I've had with the applicant, it looks like they are ready. The applicant is also here if you'd like to hear a little bit more from her about that.
I mean, I like the idea, I like the concept, but I would hate, at least for me, to transition from that concept to all of a sudden just residential that's allowed in R3. So that's what I'm asking, because like you said, somebody's gonna be living there, it's gonna be rented out, so it's kind of commercial type, but also residential.
Right.
So I could see why it fits in an R3, but I would hate for them to say, hey, you know what, we're not gonna do it, but we're gonna drop it. But since I have an R3 zoning, I'm gonna develop whatever's housing is allowed in R3. And that's my only concern. So I guess the question for me, would they have any issues if we put a time frame on this? Let's say this is allowed for 2 years, or can we? So they have 2 years to complete the project. I mean, you guys know the code better than the 90s, so that's my question.
Yeah, the condition
Yeah.
that it be a bed and
Develop-
breakfast.
If the bed and breakfast is developed within 2 years,
So that could be an additional condition in addition to the ones that we have presented, if that is what council wishes.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I make a motion to approve that condition. Nobody else has any questions or comments?
Well, I had if the owner wants to speak, can I just,
Of course.
give us their idea? But yeah, that was one of my concerns. What's the bed and breakfast is gonna remain, or we open ourselves, or what's gonna be the difference? Can they automatically make it into an apartment complex, or bed and breakfast is more, what are the differences, and is there something, and
So, Mr. Mayor, with the R3 zoning, there will be several uses that would be permitted by right if the rezoning is approved. Multifamily residential, townhomes, a couple of high-density residential uses would be permitted. under the R3 zoning. Now, staff did consider all of that when we were making the report and reviewing the case. What we found, though, is that the surrounding land uses are currently high-density residential, and so it's compatible with the existing land use. There's a couple of apartment complexes. So if an apartment complex were to develop on there, it would be surrounded by similar uses. In addition, the general plan doesn't. It's such a small project, though. It's only 2 acres. It's such a small project that it doesn't even need a general plan amendment. Meaning that it's really compatible with what's already there. And even if it were to shift completely the project, which I have no reason to believe why it would at this point, but even if the project were to stop and it looked like in the future apartment complexes or some kind of high density residential use was to be developed, that would be a compatible use with what's there right now, according to all the evidence that we have in the general plan and also the existing land use. But it's as of right now, it's looking like the project is going to get going. Is going to continue at the pace that we've been going. I would probably say from the beginning of next year onwards. The applicant is here if you'd like to ask about a time frame that they have in mind.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you for allowing me to speak. You need me over there? My teacher voice doesn't stretch far enough for this room? Okay. And this is a nice low podium, so you can still see me. As far as the time frame goes, I would really like to be open for dove hunting next year. I do not have my funding yet. If I do not get my funding, the project does not move forward. The land is in escrow. It is not yet mine. As I said, if I do not get the funding, the project will not go forward. My desire is to build a bed and breakfast. My desire is not to build apartments. So if I don't get my funding for my bed and breakfast, Mr. Gordon will still own the land and he can do with it what he pleases. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's all.
We do have copies of the plans if you'd like to see them.
No, it's, for me, it's okay, you know, I guess you answered my question.
So this is my green. As I said, I have to get the funding, so it might end up being a little smaller. But it will be a Spanish-style house. The one wing will be 2 stories so that the managers have private area up there. And then there will be parking on 2 sides. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there a motion for rezoning case number PLN 190016?
You're still, Mr. Mayor, if I may, you're still in the public hearing.
But just to clarify, if council wishes, we can add an additional condition of approval with a specific time frame for Mrs. Marino to work her plans. If they don't work, the zoning can be reverted if that's something that you wish.
Yeah, I would be comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
Are you done?
Yeah, I am all done, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think Mrs. Marino's trying to say she's okay if the zoning reverts back to the way it is now, if she doesn't move forward. So that would be an okay condition, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to exit executive, public hearing? So motion by Councilman Villalpando, second by Councilman Galindo, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to old business. Item number 1, second reading by title only of ordinance number 2019-004.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. At the previous meeting, staff presented the rezoning case number PLN 19-004, changing the zoning of 20 acres up on the mesa from Ag 10 to light industrial. At the time, we requested approval of the first reading of ordinance number 2019-004. And tonight, if there are no further questions for staff or the applicant, we would like to request the approval of the second reading of this ordinance.
Any questions or comments?
Is this the ordinance number 2?
This is ordinance 2019-004. This is,
Oh, okay, I was looking at yours.
right now, we're in all business and on your agenda. We had to do that because of the sequence
Oh, okay.
of cases.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Councilman Villalpando, second by Vice Mayor Garcia, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And this is ordinance 2019-004, an ordinance of the City of Somerton amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as assessor parcel numbers 754-05-006 and 754-05-007, more particularly described on Exhibit H attached to the ordinance, from agriculture 10 to light industrial. Thank you.
Thank you. Another motion, right?
To approve it by title only.
Is there a motion?
Make the motion to approve.
A motion by Councilman Villalpando. Second by Vice Mayor Garcia, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now we're going back to a new item, and we are going to be asking for approval of ordinances.
Thank you.
What new item?
It is,
A new business.
Oh, yes. Okay, let me proceed with the meeting and then call up and confuse.
yes.
Okay, moving on to new business for the record. Item number 1, motion to approve rezoning request case number PLN 190016. Request to review and potentially approve a rezoning of parcel number 752-15010 from neighborhood commercial to multifamily residential.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is for the item I just presented on the rezoning. Staff does have a recommended motion for the rezoning of PLN 19-0016 108 East Cactus from C1 neighborhood commercial to R3 multifamily residential. And the motion is to approve the rezoning case PLN 19-0016 for 108 East Cactus from C1 neighborhood commercial to R3 multifamily residential, subject to the conditions listed in Exhibit A, but as discussed by council, that extra condition can also be inserted at this point.
Okay, any further questions or comments from council? No, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve, but also add the conditions that's stated in the public hearing, which was that it would be reverted back if the applicant was not able to complete the funding.
There's So motion by Councilman Villalpando, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Galindo, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 2, first reading by title only of ordinance number 2019-005.
I'll make the motion to approve first reading by title only.
There's a motion by Councilman Villalpando,
Second.
second by Councilman Castillo, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and this is ordinance number 2019-005, an ordinance in the city of Somerton amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as 108 East Cactus Street, assessor's parcel number 75215-010, more particularly described on Exhibit A, attached hereto from C1 neighborhood commercial to R3 multifamily residential.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
So motion by Councilman Villalpando,
Second.
second by Councilman Castillo, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 3, discussion and possible action to change the makeup of the Personnel Policy Committee.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, at the last meeting of the Personnel Policy Committee, the committee voted to recommend a change to the makeup of the committee. Currently, the committee is made up of 2 council members, 2 department directors, and 1 non-director staff member. The committee is recommending that it be made up of still 2 council members, but instead of the other staff members, 1 representative from each department. The department director would select a representative from his or her department. After reviewing the recommendation, the city attorney, chief personnel officer, and myself think it may be best to have the city attorney, HR, and administration departments continue to serve in advisory, non-voting roles, and not as voting members of the committee. So in short, the recommendation is to have representatives, 2 representatives continue to be on the Personnel Policy Committee from the council, and then have representatives chosen by the department directors of the court, the police department, fire department, community development, economic development, finance, parks and rec, and public works. This models what is done similarly in the city of Yuma.
Thank you. You done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Just- I gotta-
Any questions or comments?
Question. So no directors involved?
Directors may choose to appoint themselves to the committee. It's up to their discretion if they want to appoint
But
themselves.
either or
an
themselves
alternate.
or in?
That's correct. Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Any other comments? Recommendation? Agree?
I'll make the motion to approve the recommendation by city manager.
Motion by Councilman Villalpando,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Garcia, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Villalpando's on our roll today.
Regime starts at 8.
Okay, item number 4, discussion and possible action to select a vice mayor for the city of Somerton.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the city code authorizes the council to designate one of its members as vice mayor, who shall serve at the pleasure of the council. The vice mayor shall perform the duties of the mayor during his absence or disability. The recommended action is for the mayor to call for a motion for a member of city council to serve as vice mayor.
Any nominations? Don't leave it to me like last week.
I would like to nominate Councilmember Garcia to continue as vice mayor.
We don't have a councilman versus vice
I was gonna nominate Juan Castillo, but I don't know how he feels about it before I nominate him. because I think the purpose was to give everybody a chance, but it's whatever you guys all decide, so.
There's two nominees.
I'll second the nominee of Mr. Aliento to keep Vice Mayor Garcia as the Vice Mayor of the City of Somerton.
Okay. Should we do a motion or roll call? Everybody in the spot.
Well, it's, Mayor, this is entirely up to the way you want to select it. Usually, there's a nomination and an acceptance, and if there's another nomination and acceptance, and then I think everybody just kind of votes, or they can vote. They can
put everybody in the spot.
or you can put it in a piece of paper, and I mean, you can vote for yourself. I guess as a voting member. So, if you want to do, everybody write their choice on a piece of paper too, and hand it to the clerk.
Anybody but me. That's all I gotta say.
Shouldn't do a roll call.
Okay.
Okay, Councilman Castillo.
I'm fine with keeping Vice Mayor Garcia.
Councilman Villalpando.
Well, I guess. Thank you. Well, I guess, yeah,
Thank you.
you know, I'm okay with it. Councilman Garcia as well.
Same here.
Lindo.
I would like to. Garcia.
Garcia.
Yeah, not Castilla, not. I
Garcia.
was gonna say Castilla.
I would accept that.
Okay.
More than happy to.
So we keep Garcia then.
I would like to hear some words for Vice Mayor Garcia.
Actually, thank you, Mr. Galindo. I know you did it because of that.
Vote seven?
Yeah, Martha has done a good job. You know, the difference is she's got very flexible in her job, so she can go during the day. She's always at the meeting, so it's a good choice for the city of Somerton. So, item number 5, discussion and possible action to designate council members to represent the city of Somerton on various area organizations. Yeah. And this one, you know, every year we also select the organizations that the council members represent. You guys, I asked for attendance, so council members got the attendance, and so it's time to start looking at different council members. One thing I want to ask the council members when they go to meetings is that try to give us a report. We council is represented there, so whatever happens, try to at least tell us what's happening, keep us abreast of what's going on. So I serve in GYDC, and as far as I know, I've been to most of the meetings, probably one. So I would like to continue there serving. And Councilman Roldan indicated that he would be able to make the Parker meeting in Wacom. Councilman Villalpando.
For the YMPO, Mayor, I believe that I spoke to you about the YMPO, and I'll share with the rest of the council. The YMPO, it's pretty much, most of the stuff that's in there is informative. I think the most delicate or thing that we ever dealt with was lending out money from the YMPO funds to Casa Grande, equivalent to WACOG, and that was in the tune for like $100,000. But for YMPO, I believe that we do need to have a strong representation in TAC, and I believe that's what you're in, Sam. And with Sam holding down the fort in TAC, the YMPO never goes against the recommendations from TAC. So anybody can pretty much sit on my appeal again, and I think we're pretty solid there because of Sam's present in TAC. Everything's pretty much formalities for my appeal.
Yeah, I've been serving on the wake up for the last 3 years, I believe. And I'm presently the chair for the executive board. My term is due in January, and if Councilman Roldan wishes to take my place, it's fine.
It was Garcia's position.
But it was, that's where I'm confused, because
There's
there's
two.
two,
So the one that Garcia was,
the Parker one, yeah.
Yeah, there's two. There's one for the finance team, the one that you, then the other one is for the executive board.
Yeah, the one that Vice Mayor was serving.
Oh, okay.
You still want the executive?
Yeah,
You still do. It's okay. Councilman Gonzalez.
And the YMPO meetings, they're every third Thursday, right? Of the month,
Thursday of the month.
and it's at 1 p.m. So if anybody wants to volunteer, it's important that we have a presence there. Did we have next year? We have the chair. Or-
Yeah, this coming in January.
Yeah.
If you're not,
Yeah, it's a little difficult because it's in the middle of the day.
I'll,
So if you want.
if they're in town, I'm more available to go than Parker.
Yeah,
I have that local day.
they alternate between all the agencies.
Well, once a year they do it outside of Yuma for each entity. Like San Luis will have it once, Somerton, Welton.
But it's local Yuma County, right?
Yeah, it's in Yuma County. Further she'll go is Welton once.
Okay, so YMPO Garcia, Wake Up Garcia and Gonzalez, GYDC myself.
Gonzalez and Roldan.
And
Well,
Gonzalez.
Rodan, yeah. Rodan and Gonzalez. And like I said, I asked, like, if you have a meeting, just try to give an update on the summary of current events. So, okay, summary of current events or future agenda items.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, today the city held a pre-qualification meeting for professionals interested in submitting statements of qualification for the project management consultant contract position. This position will help guide the city in the negotiations, financing, development, and construction of the recreational and sports facility adjacent to the new Somerton High School. Submittals will be accepted until December 10th, and more information is still available on the city website, somertonaz.gov. I want to acknowledge the work staff has done, particularly Economic Development Director Hector Tapia, in developing a new procedure and workflow for assisting entrepreneurs and business owners in the business licensing process. The goal is to make it as easy as possible for those people looking to invest in our community by providing a simpler, more streamlined process and with a helping hand all along the way. Also, thanks to Community Development Director Carmen Juarez and Deputy City Clerk Ana Valenzuela for their assistance in this improvement project. And also in the spirit of continuous improvement, I want to acknowledge the work of Police Chief Juarez that she's done to better serve those in our community affected by domestic violence. Chief Juarez has instituted a new process that gathers more complete information to better ascertain potential risk in DV situations and provide more comprehensive resources available to victims. We recently noted Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in the city of Somerton. I'm very pleased to see that the chief took the initiative to take action to better address this issue in our community. Finance Director Zarina Gallegos is out sick, and Chief Deanda, Fire Chief Deanda, is out on PTO. So with that, I will send it over to Jesus Roldan, Parks and Rec Director.
Way back.
Thursday.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, attendees. On behalf of Mrs. Benson, Parks and Rec Director, on behalf of the Parks Division, we're keeping busy with the light tower project and all the setup for the weekly events. They're gonna come in tomorrow and install the lights at the tower. so we can have it ready for Friday and our tree lighting event. Also, they're finishing on the reseeding project at Council Park. Hopefully get it ready for next week for activities. And banners are gonna be installed starting tomorrow. So everything's gonna be ready by no later than Thursday. And on the rec side, we're getting ready to start for flag football this Saturday. It's gonna start at 10 a.m. at TDS for the moment. We're thinking about relocating it to Council Park, which has more amenities, bathrooms and all that. So that's possible. We're gonna relocate it after the first week once the reseeding project is done. Baseball clinics are gonna start this Saturday also. There's gonna be in partnership with Sueño Dorado Academy, the same academy that helped us with the baseball event, Extravaganza. And it's gonna start at 10 a.m. at Joe Munoz. So hopefully get that promotion going, keeping the kids active. So we already have them here for next season and avoid all this hassle of late registrations and ordering uniforms late and all these things. So it's good for promotion and for development. It's not made only for beginners. It's made for advanced players that just want to improve their skills, because all the instructors are very prepared and knowledgeable. The main instructor has over 30 years of experience at every level, so he's going to be a good asset for the community. And it's going to be worked the same as any cultural program, recreational program. $5 go back to the city for maintenance. So it's the same concept being used there. The uniform thing, they arrived, they were handed out to all the teams, and the caps were in the back order, so they are set to arrive on Tuesday. So we're gonna hand them out starting next Tuesday. That's the update on that. And continuing the rec, it's ongoing softball, baseball. They're set to end by the end of this month. And as I mentioned, there also in another activity we have the men's soccer. They're still in between the 3-2 count. They're gonna do it or not. I'm gonna send them a quote tomorrow. They're gonna decide if they're gonna start next week. If so, and they have to be finished by February 9th before a recreational league starts and fit in the Tower League. That's where we're looking at right now. We're ready on meetings with Mr. Guerrero also, and everything's moving along pretty smoothly. And thanks Lozano, their MOU is gonna help, so have everything in line. The senior center, they're working on their festivities for the holidays. Right now, it's tentatively is scheduled for December 18th at the regular time. It's always like around 11. And they're happy about the donation. They appreciated the 58-inch smart TV. They're gonna donate it there, and the ladies have been moving forward and hustling to get more and at very affordable prices. So, and we're working on the karaoke system for them to be able to do more activities and have some fun along their programming. So Max and myself are looking at that right now, and something basic but something else for them to do. So, and events, of course, this Friday the light the tree lighting event set for this Friday at 6. We're gonna keep promoting it. It's been a good project. It's a new event, and it's the program is ready to go. Should be finished tomorrow. Unfortunately, our special events coordinator wasn't able to be here today, but the program is set to be done tomorrow. We'll forward and keep promoting it and everything's ready. The lineup's good. The Gadsden School District's gonna be, Somerton Band's gonna be here, folkloric dance group is gonna perform, and of course the ceremony, which has council part of it. That's about it. And we'll look at the that situation for the helmets. We did provide helmets, the required and the usual in every league. It's just a regular helmet. Those are upgrades that we can look at and buy, but we did provide protection, just on a note. And not even travel tournaments or leagues, not even the Cal Ripken requires, I believe, the extended protection. Those are just bought by the coaches, the parents that know their kids are beginners and they might need it, but we can buy it. That's not an issue, and we already looked at some prices, so we'll look into that also. And that's about it right now for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, just a comment.
Yeah.
Helmets, take it to the Parks and Rec Commission and see what it is. You know, many times accidents happen and knee-jerk reactions, you wanna do the, but then again, it's, the city, you know, had the required
Yeah,
equipment, so,
Yeah.
but, you know, Parks and Rec so desires,
yeah.
you know, then that's the avenue that's why they're there, so.
Yeah, and I mean, we
Probably
do.
a
Yeah.
good example, you know.
Yeah, even at the MLB level, some players choose to use it. Like Stanley, he broke his jaw, and after that, he started using it. But if you see most of the players, they don't use it because the visibility is different and the feeling of it is different as a baseball player. But we have the caging type of helmet, but nobody wants to use it. But if it's a beginner, they can request it, and it's gonna be for their benefit. But they're there. I mean, yeah.
That's something Parks and Rec and coaches
Yeah.
talked about.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I want to touch a little bit on what the city manager mentioned about the DV implementation that we made, and I'm going to make this as short as I can. So the Supreme Court has approved a new form. It's an assessment form in order to help the officer not only guide himself through the investigation, but it also allows the judge to see a form, which is a one-page form that the officer will fill out with the victim, if the victim allows and wants to answer a lot of those questions. And then it will help the judge more than anything to decide on a release, non-release of the defendant. So that's going to be very helpful for us, and that'll be seen by statute. The judge is obligated to read that on the initial appearance. So that's something that's really good. It's implemented with us. We also give the victim, once we fill the form out, we provide the victim resources, escape routes, preparation plans for escape from the house. We give them information on obtaining order of protection. So there's a lot of more information that we provide to them along with that form. We've been working with Safe House, which is a safe place for victims, and we provided that form. So they'll be helping us educate the public when it comes to DV, that we're going to be asking some of these questions. Some of these questions are going to be tough, so that's the DV assessment form that we've implemented. We also have kind of good news, I guess. Officer Quintero has taken it upon himself to purchase a small officer, like a 3-foot little officer. It's a puppet. And the first time we took him out was today at, I believe it was Valle del Encanto School. So he'll be roaming around with that officer. In case you see him, he's a small little guy. They call him Officer Bobby for whatever reason, but kids love it. He'll be showcasing this one at different schools, and the purpose of that is to engage the children. We want to engage the children while they're young, so they can continue, or they can grow trusting us to come forward to report. So they won't be afraid of reporting some of the tough cases for them, which are the child molestations, the physical abuse, and stuff of that nature. So you'll see him. We'll post some of the stuff on him here in the next week or so. We've been getting a lot of complaints of not only, more than anything, people not yielding at the crosswalks here on Main Street and State, and more so at Main Street and Carlisle. So we're working on that. We've got a couple complaints. See, the thing is, the school district is completely divided, and Mr. Gonzalez can probably attest to that, where a lot of the children that are on the south side shouldn't be going to Valle del Encanto, but they are. So we get these young kids crossing in the middle of the morning when everybody's in rush hour, and the buses, the labor buses and everything. So that's becoming a struggle for us, but we're keeping an eye on that. We've gotten some complaints on that. Well, a good thing, Mr. Gonzalez, is the batteries are going to cost us a lot for those signs at the end of town, but they're going to be very beneficial because they even remind me to slow down when I'm coming into town, and it's a reminder for everyone. But the additional thing to that is that even though they're going to be a little expensive, we're going to get 4 of these batteries. They have some software that comes with it that'll help us, that'll remind the officers when are they supposed to be there more often. When the traffic is real heavy, they will be reminding us when the speeders are coming into town. So it'll give us a better period of gauging when we're supposed to be at those intersections. That's one thing in the training. I shared with the city manager that we have a plan for this coming up year of training. We have a lot of officers inside the department that already have advanced training in certain areas. So they'll be providing in-house training. We'll be working closely with tribal police, COGOPA. So they'll be sharing some of their general instructors as well. So we'll probably be able to keep a lot of the training costs here in-house. And that's gonna save a lot of money so we can use it better in other areas. We've done an upgrade on 2 of our bicycles. You'll see them at the light parade. Officer Madrigal has done an awesome job of getting with a friend of his who's been fixing some of the lights, some sirens, and some other things. You'll see them around. You guys are gonna like them as well. And the other thing with that is they make the officer way more approachable than him sitting inside the patrol car with windows up. And that's one of the things that I'd like to see. I'd like to see the officers getting off the bike, talking to people, and the public feeling comfortable coming up to them to talk. So we've also done an upgrade today on the city page under the police department. So you'll see that there's a couple links here and there for the public to be able to access some of the police reports. They'll be able to click on it, fill it out, and then send it over to records. That's one thing. We've also added a couple of services, a lot of information on services, which includes the fingerprint information. They will include the impound information and release of property and evidence. So that'll be helpful. They can go online, they can request some of that stuff, and there's a lot of information in there. So I think that's it. Thank you.
For these complaints, how do you quantify it? Has there been a lot of complaints, people calling in, or a council member?
We've only had
complaining
2
about it?
complaints, but as soon as we get one complaint, we're on it because we want to go out there and make sure that everybody's safe. We've had 2 complaints.
2 complaints? Okay. Yeah, just, you know, a lot of times, you know, and we get that, you know, where I work, there's complaints about speeding. You go in there, put a radar in, and the reality is that it's not. So a lot of times, we gotta be careful to start, you know, reacting to it. You know, we have, you know, evidence we have, but, you know, to start, you know, purchasing equipment or whatever. So that's probably something that, you know, we just gotta have our data right, and before we start, you know, and
Yeah.
getting that.
Let me clarify, the purchase of the batteries is the 2 signs that are at the end of town.
Okay.
Those are the speedometers,
speed
yes.
limit. Okay,
Yeah, that's the only thing we're purchasing. For the crosswalk issue that we're having, we're just setting up patrol cars out there, just to be making sure that people are slowing down and allowing the kids to cross. Okay, thank you.
Mayor and Council, our department continues working with several rezoning cases. We have lot splits, we have subdivision reviews, we have several ongoing cases on the planning and zoning side. We continue working on those. We also have a lot of code enforcement on animal control, building safety, and also planning and zoning. So we are working on different stages on each one of those cases. Some of them are going to be brought before you for final approval. Some of them are in-house, but we continue working with different projects that we are having throughout the city. 2 of the most important operations that we're working right now as we speak is the 2020 general plan update. This is very important for our city, for our residents. We have invited the residents. We have a survey, an online survey that is going to be available until December 31st, 2019, because we continue with the process once the survey is done. There are going to be other meetings for the residents to give us their input. It's very important. We need the resident involvement in this particular project because they're going to tell us exactly what they want to see in Somerton for the next 10 years. So it is very important for those residents that are not available to attend those meetings. That's why we have that online survey. We have put together this little clip in social media that, you know, I became a superstar for a minute. But it's that important for us to go out there and invite those residents to come and click on that survey. It's available on our city webpage. And we have links in social media. And like I said, it's very important. We want to hear from those residents. So when we come before you, we know that we are presenting exactly what the residents of the city want and need to see in the city in the next 10 years. So I'm inviting everyone in the community, all of us that we live here and have friends and family, we need to forward that link of the survey so they can take, it only takes 3 to 5 minutes to complete the survey, submit it, and it goes directly to the consulting firm that the city has hired to do that, and also comes to staff. So we are reviewing on a daily basis those surveys that are coming in. Unfortunately, we don't have that many surveys filled out and submitted. So we are really needing the residents to come and tell us what they want to see in Somerton. So the other major operation is the 2020 census. That's another very important operation that we have. Again, this is another every 10 years, but it's so important so we know what funding, the more accurate the count is within the city, is the benefits that we are going to be seeing for the next 10 years. Again, we also want to invite the residents to become engaged in this project, and when the time comes for them to fill out their questionnaire, which is between March 12th through April 1st of 2020, they know what it is, and they should not be concerned or afraid to fill out the questionnaire and submit it. There are going to be different ways to submit this questionnaire. It's not just paper this time. It's going to be online, available by telephone, and also by paper for those that are past the April 1st deadline. They're still, if the Census Bureau has not received their questionnaire, that's when somebody's going to come in and knock on their door and offer the questionnaire so they can fill it out. So this is very important. Again, we have 2 major operations coming in. The general plan update that is ongoing, and ultimately is going to be ratified in November 2020 during the general election, and the census, the 2020 census operation as well. So those are the 2 major updates. Also, just to remind everyone in the community that we have open seats for the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have two available seats, and also we have 2 available seats for the Residential and Commercial Advisory Board. For this board, this board will require specific background. We need somebody with engineering background, and we need somebody with general contractor experience. So that's the requirement that we need for those board potential candidates. For the Planning and Zoning Commission, what we need is for them to be residents of the city and willing to attend those meetings as we have them scheduled. And that's all I have for now.
For the advisory board, the engineer and general contractor, do they need to be city residents?
We have one that requires to be city resident. The other position doesn't need to be resident according to the bylaws that we have. So for the engineering background, it doesn't need to be resident. For the general contractor background, yes, that needs to be a resident. So if you know of anybody, just invite them to come to us and submit the letter of interest, and we'll be presenting it eventually to you for appointment.
Did Magaña step down?
Magaña, Josh, no, he's still there. We have, out of the 2 that are expired, the seats are expired, Mr. Lopez has mentioned that he is going to submit the letter, but he hasn't yet. And Mr. Bricky, he's an engineer in Yuma, and I don't think Mr. Bricky will resubmit this time. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. As Ian mentioned, I give you a copy of this, the business license application steps. Basically, the intent is to assist the new businesses coming to the city, and the intent is for them to come to economic development first, so we can help them with the finding a location. They need some information about zoning information. So basically, this is simple steps. Ana Valenzuela and also Carmen Juarez, as a team, we work on this process, and we're gonna start marketing this process through the social media, giving also to businesses and let the community know about these steps that we're gonna do. Also, we're gonna start tracking, actually yesterday we started tracking this process through the Acela tracking system. It is the same system that we use for the building permits. So that will be also tracked into the Acela. For the development side, as you know, our focus right now is in the on the west side property. I'm working with the architects of the Sunset Community Health. They're doing some revision, as mentioned before, to the site plan. They're adding another 1,000 square feet to the building. Their intent is to include a cafeteria and a small coffee shop inside the building. So the building is going to be a little bigger. But like it was proposed, they pushing the building back, and we're going to allow to have a commercial parcels in front of Main Street. As soon as I get a revised site plan, I will send it to you or show it to you at the next meeting. Also, I'm expecting another proposal on the same site. They're looking for 4 acres. So, in the as you know, the McDonald's is still looking. They're supposed to make a decision the next week. It's going to be on the east side or on the west side. So that's coming soon. And they're still working with the hotel site. So as you know, we have 20 acres to play with it of commercial development. And I'm working also with the engineering to start working on the plotting. Once we have all the development proposals in place, then we're gonna ask them, put them where they're supposed to go, depending on how many acres they're looking for. Sunset, they need 5 acres. The other proposal, they want 4 acres. McDonald's about 1.5, and hotel sites about 2 acres to 2.5 acres. We still have more space facing Main Street, but Carmen Juarez is going to be working on rezoning. Right now, the property is on R3 and commercial facing Main Street, but we need to rezone it to all commercial. Also, the park site is going to be also rezoned. Right now, I believe it's R16 and R3. So at the same time, Saul and Carmen is going to work on the rezoning and also last split to break from the 55 acres, break another piece at the 20 acres commercial property that we're going to be doing for commercial development. So that's my focus right now on that property, and so far it looks very good, so people are interested in coming there. Good.
I haven't heard from the Michoacana. Is that yet coming along, or?
As last Friday, they're still working on the lease agreement. I talked to the franchise owner, Manny Valenzuela, before, and they were close, but on the last Friday, they told me they're looking on other sites, but they're not done yet. The rent is kind of because Mr. Salcido is going to build a new building. So the agreement between the franchise owner and the property owner is not there yet. The franchise owner thinks it's a little high, but Salcido is investing in a new building, so it needs to be a compromise. From the city side, that's all we can do. We put the agreements for them to negotiate. The city talked to the actual Michoacana owner from California, and we meet, the franchise owner and property owner. It's up to them to get close. But right now, even they're looking into the old City Hall site as a last Friday. But in my opinion, that would be more expensive to go into the old City Hall site, because to remodel that building will take a lot of money, or to do a new building. And if the other corners, the property owner is willing to build the building, then lease it to them. Hopefully they can get an agreement soon.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Our contractor, Taylor Engineering, started the water main extension in La Mesa finally, after we received the approval from Yuma County on the encroachment permit. So they started today. and this project is moving forward. Now, working with the Yuma County Development Services, they are planning to improve all the intersections on Avenue B in La Mesa between County 16 all the way to County 18. So as you may know, Supervisor Porcias is pushing hard on Yuma County for them to let us know when when they have a project, to approach other municipalities and let us know so we can possibly participate in those projects. And this is the case on this project on Avenue B. As you know, the intersection of Avenue B and County 16 belong to us, and this is a perfect opportunity for us to improve that intersection. Basically, they are widening and placing new asphalt and signing on those intersections. I'm gonna bring this IGA for our next meeting for approval. They also have a cost estimate for I believe $320,000 total project. This $320,000 is just for our portion of Avenue B in County 16. Now for that amount, they are willing to contribute $100,000. So basically, it's gonna be $220,000 for us. And they also are willing to let us pay in two payments, basically half this fiscal year and half next fiscal year, which is a great opportunity for us. Also, we received good news from ADEQ. They are working with the EPA on the possible extending the water line along Highway 95 from Cesar Chavez all the way to the Valley Vista project. So ADQ will have funds available to design the project, and they may have funds available for the construction of the project. As far as I know, per my last conversation with them last week, 55% will be probably grant money, and 45% will be money that is going to be possible divided between the Yuma County, ADQ, and City of Somerton if we are willing to participate. And of course, it's the best benefit for us to extend that line to Valley Vista. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. As you might know, my last day with the City of Somerton is December 13th. And I don't want to miss this opportunity to say thank you. I had the opportunity to assist City Council for 8 years. I met 3 mayors and a few council members. I want to say that I enjoy it, I learn, and I'm going to miss being here. So thank you.
Thank you, Ana, for your service with us. All I have is this Saturday, I will be attending the NALEO, Arizona Statewide Policy Institute on Education Governance in Phoenix. It's all day Saturday, so anything that imperative that I hear, I'll make sure to take notes and share with you guys in our next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, Ana, thank you for all these years of service to our community. I really appreciate all your assistance, and good luck in wherever life takes you. I'm sure we'll probably run into each other. But I do have a couple other things. First of all, thank you to my fellow council members for pitching in and donating the TV for the senior center. And I haven't forgotten about Ian. Ian also was and is going to contribute to it. So thank you guys for stepping up. I believe that's the item that they're going to raffle off to the seniors during the Christmas party. So they were all stoked. The bad thing though is that all the ones that were there wanted one for themselves too. Said, hey, when do we get one? And it's like, well, this is for you guys, Well, we individually want one. So it was a 58-inch smart TV, so it's a pretty nice TV. The other thing too is, Ian, I just emailed you some information in regards to these buildings that are owned by nonprofit organizations that possibly are being held for profit. They have to pay a property tax on them. And I believe the process is we go through our county assessor's office, and they make the determination. So I think that's some revenue that the city has been losing out on, especially with some of these nonprofits holding the buildings, to turn around and sell them or lease them. So I think it's worthwhile for us to explore and see if they actually have to pay property tax on those. One of them, of course, is being the old DES building. You know, it's different rules when they start leasing them out for profit. So I emailed you that information.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Gonzalez?
And I just want to thank you as well for your years of service for the city of Somerton. You will be missed. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
The same, Anna, you'll be greatly missed. Thank you for the years that you've dedicated to the city. I had, and it was for Chief Leanda, but I don't know if maybe Chief Juarez, I think I've asked you before about Avenue D and County 15, about maybe, is it ours, is it half ours, half county? We know that with the ag season right now, a lot of accidents have been happening. I don't know if we should approach the county about a stop sign, some flashing lights or something there to maybe try and minimize those accidents, because we've been dealing with quite a few deaths there too. So if we can get some information on that, maybe, I don't know, Mayor, if we can approach the county with that.
I think we own a leg or?
Exactly.
25%. 25.
South
It is something that we can approach. Unfortunately, with this fatality, that information can be available for HSIP funds. But this round is already allocated for another projects. But it's definitely something that I'm going to bring into the YPO.
I don't have anything, just thank you, Anna, for your service to the city, and thank you for your helping me when I first started, years after, and I already talked to you, and there's always, it's the same, when one door closes, many more open, and I know you're gonna do great whatever you decide to do. Thank you for your service.
Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. It's gonna be a lot of work for city staff, but we're gonna have fun, and I guess this is our business here to serve the community, and this are community events to come together and, have community pride. So, but it's gonna be a lot of work. So starting with the tree lighting, the parade, the tamale festival, everything. So I hope everybody has fun doing it too, enjoys themselves, because this is for all of us, all these activities, and for our family, for our kids, and for everybody. I met with the Chamber of Commerce, Yuma County Chamber of Commerce. They're gonna open an office in San Luis, and they want to have more of a presence here. And so one of the things that we discussed is the connection from the port to Somerton, and that would help South County. That's probably something that we've talked about it for years, but we haven't put an emphasis on. So now I think, I talked to Mayor Sanchez and Supervisor Porcha, so we're gonna try to focus more on that, and also talk to Public Works Director San Palacios. So I asked them to, we're gonna put a future agenda item just for information, see where we're going, but that would help a lot for, at least for the economic development here in South County, having a direct bus, truck route and here to Somerton. We didn't have too many meetings, just that meeting right there. And I went to the senior center for the first time in months, and I heard about it, and so had to explain that I had to take half a day off for that meeting, but I'm gonna try to make it in December at least. And Anna, thank you for everything. You are gonna be missed, you know, everything from the elections, helping us with all those paperwork and, you know, and having patience with us and reminding us and everything. Thank you very much. You'll be missed. So this is your last meeting, right?
This is my last
Yeah.
meeting.
Thank you. But we're gonna see you at the employee.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
my last day.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, department director encourage your employees to go. Last year it was sad that you could tell which departments had high morale and which one had low, because the ones that, you know, were having issues, the employees didn't show up. So hopefully we have better attendance and just, you know, let's have fun this month. And with that, it's 8:23, meeting's adjourned.